Hey there guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Gavin, and on this channel I talk about all things voice AI and automation. So in this video, we're going to dive straight into webhooks, okay? Now, webhooks might sound technical, but they're actually super simple and but essential to creating voice AI agents and automations, okay? And I'm going to walk you through exactly what webhooks are, how they sort of move data between apps, and why they're crucial for tasks like tool execution when it comes to building like functionality within our voice agents, things like appointment scheduling and post call analysis. Okay. By the end of this video, you'll confidently understand how webhooks function under the hood and how they're different from APIs, okay? And why mastering them is key to scaling and enhancing your voice AI projects, all right? So let's dive straight in. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering webhooks, all right? And honestly, guys, webhooks are very straightforward, okay? I'm just going to give you a quick overview of exactly what's going on under the hood, but what I want you to take away from this is that they are very simple and easy to set up, okay? They make transferring data from application to application, across the internet very easy for the average person. You do not have to be technical at all to understand and start working with webhooks. All right. And they are essential for working with voice AI agents. So let's get started. All right. So imagine you have different software tools that need to talk to each other, like a CRM system needing to update your document storage when something changes. This is where our webhooks come in. Think of webhooks as digital messengers that automatically notify one system when something happens in another. Okay? As simple as that. When something happens in one system, another system gets notified. Okay? Why this matters for voice AI solutions. When you're building voice AI systems, they rarely operate in isolation. Okay? Your voice agents, hold on a second here. Your voice agents need to seamlessly connect with other business tools in order to replicate the effectiveness of human agents, okay? Unless you're just making the most basic information, retrieving agent or someone that just literally just has a knowledge base, you're going to need webhooks, right? To create tools and functionality. So tool calling and post call analysis, these are the primary functions you're going to use webhooks for, okay? Custom tool execution. Webhooks can be used to process function calls, or they're called tool calls now in Vapi, but function calls in retail, okay? Triggered by the assistant. For example, if an assistant needs to book an appointment, it can send a webhook request to an external server, which then handles the logic and responds with a booking result, okay? This is how you book appointments. Whether you're using cal.com, whether you're using Calendly, Google Calendar, it doesn't matter. State management and persistence. Webhooks help maintain conversation continuity by storing relevant data about past interactions. For example, a technical support assistant can remember a person's caller, remember a caller's previous issue, and continue from where the last conversation started or ended. So this is essentially inbound caller memory. Okay, this is how you set it up. Before the call starts, a webhook is sent to gather that person's data, retrieve it from Airtable, and then it gets sent back. And I'm going to show you exactly how to set that up in the Vapi modules, okay? So you really got to be able to master these webhooks. Luckily, they're very simple and straightforward. I'm going to show you. So essentially how webhooks actually work, the simple version, an event triggers within an app. So your voice AI assistant sends a payload. It sends a message from the event to the URL, okay? And then a response. And these responses can be configured. Sometimes the response can be instantaneous and they don't really send back anything except that it worked, or they can be send back actual data for the voice assistant to work with, okay? So imagine you're expecting an important package. Instead of checking your doorstep every few minutes, you ask the delivery person to text you when they drop it off, okay? This is a very simple analogy, but it, sort of illustrates what a webhook is perfectly. And the difference between webhooks and APIs is that webhooks essentially are one way, Okay, that's where their functionality shines, is through one-way data transfer. And APIs, you can do a number of different things, but essentially it's you're requesting data when you send an API call, or you can send data to create an action on another server, right? This one is not creating an action when it sends; it's just giving information. Okay, this you can send a post request that sort of updates the other software. Okay, it's making changes to the software it's sending data to, or you can request data using a GET request from that software. And we're going to go more into APIs in the next module. Okay. So API calls, it's like repeatedly calling a restaurant to check if your table is ready. You have to keep asking, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? It uses more resources because you're constantly checking. Good when you need information right away and can't wait for updates. Whereas with a webhook, it's like giving the restaurant your number and then having them call you when your table is ready. You only get notified when something actually happens. More efficient because there's no constant checking. Perfect for situations where you want to know when something changes, but don't need to keep asking. Okay? So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Now I'm going to show you how we can work with webhooks and Make and Vapi. Okay? I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into how to use tools to add functionality to your Vapi agents. Okay? So let me just get my caller ready here. What we have here is a simple assistant that's like acts as a real estate qualifier, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to call this assistant, and shortly after the call starts, we're going to have it send us an SMS, okay? Using this tool, send SMS. All right. And like I said, I'm going to go deeper into tool creation. Right now, just know that I set up this thing, and when you go to set these up, we're gonna set them up in a future time. I'm gonna go through the whole process, but if you go to integration, it says make here, and this is the webhook URL. Okay, so every time it triggers this tool, it's sending data to this webhook. All right, which is this webhook right here. Okay, and so in the prompt, I have it. I give it an identity. But I also said start with a friendly greeting, use the send SMS tool, and I like to put when I have it instructed to call tools, I like to just put in like this with the single quote marks here, okay, like backticks. So when we call this, it should send this tool, but we got to set it up first, okay. We're going to get the data first so we can set this up with our Twilio, and so we can get the text. All right. So let's call this first. Let's get the number.
Hey there. Welcome to Power Brokers Real Estate. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Let's get started. I'll send you a link to schedule an appointment with one of our agents to better understand your needs. Can you tell me your budget range for buying a home?
Did you send me the SMS?
Just a sec.
Okay, that's perfect.
I just sent you the.
So that perfectly illustrates why I'm about to show you this neat trick too, especially with the webhooks. All right. So if you notice what happened there is that even though I instructed this thing, okay, real estate qualifier. So even though I instructed it to, after the initial greeting and the user's response, inform the user that you would be sending the booking link, okay? And then run the tool send SMS. And I don't know why this happens, but this has happened to me before with a send SMS tool. That it doesn't do it all the time, okay? See, when you notice that only when I asked it, can you send me the SMS that it's sent, okay? So sometimes the thing just doesn't want to listen when you're having these tool calls in here. Not most of the time, but sometimes, okay? And it's really annoying. And I'm going to show you a workaround for this specific scenario with sending messages. So we got that data now, okay? So we have the phone number, or we have the customer's phone number. So now we can actually create the send message with Twilio. So I have a connection, and to set this connection up, okay, you would just get your SID and authentication token here, okay? And that's if you go to your dashboard, right at the dashboard, and it's right down here, this account info, okay? So I hope that makes sense. And then to get to enable SMS, you have to buy a number that is enabled. See how they all say SMS, MMS, voice. Sometimes they don't say SMS. Not every number is enabled for this in Twilio, so you got to make sure that it is, okay? So just throwing that in there. And then that's all you have to do to connect it, and you're good to go. So that one's easy. So I grab this phone number, okay, and now we're going to map this with the customer number, okay, from the webhook we set up. And then now we can create a message body. So whatever you want to do, hey there, you can book a call with Gavin using the link below. And then let's just go to grab one of my links here. And then boom. All right. So now when we call it again, well first let's see if it sends this time, okay? And you can update the prompt to get it to send sometimes, but you like to lets you sleep easier at night when you know these things are going to be sending every single time, okay? We've had this issues with the clients before. So let's try calling this again. We're going to run this again.
Hey there. Welcome to Power Brokers Real Estate. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Let's get started by scheduling a quick chat with one of our agents. I'll send you a link via SMS so you can pick a time that works for you. One moment, please. This will just take a sec. I've sent you the booking link via SMS. Please check your messages and pick a convenient time for the appointment. To better understand your needs, can you tell me your budget range for buying a home?
All right. So I didn't get the text, but let's see what it says here. Is it because I'm using a Google Voice number? How we can check this is messaging. All right, so see here, error logs in the last hour. You can see messaging traffic, and this is in the overview section on Twilio. And let's click on this and see what the error was. Okay. So yeah, this is what I expected. My number wasn't registered. I don't think I registered this. This is like a Twilio test account. The registration process for SMS is sometimes a pain in the butt for Twilio, but this is a good way to show you guys how you can troubleshoot these easily in Twilio, and I've had to do this many times. So yeah, so I haven't registered for this, A2P 10DLC campaign yet on my Twilio number, so that's why it didn't work. But the AI called it, which is nice. But now, guys, I want to show you real quickly a workaround. So say the AI was still not listening, okay? It was still not listening to my prompt instructions and sending this shortly after the beginning of the call, right? So let's go back into Vapi, and what we're going to do is we're going to delete this SMS tool. So when you set up a tool, after you set it up, you have to enable it into your voice assistant, or else they won't be able to call anything, okay? So now it's not going to be able to run that function at all, okay? So it's not going to be able to send it. What we're going to do, if we had some sort of message that we wanted to send at the beginning of every call and we wanted to ensure with 100% accuracy that it ran, we're going to do this. We're going to go to Tools. Let's get this webhook, okay? And just for clarification, it's this same webhook here, okay? Same webhook we've been using. Now we're going to go back to Vapi, and we're going to go to our assistant real estate qualifier right here, okay? And then we're going to go over to advanced, okay? And we're going to go to the server messages here. First, we're going to put the server right here, okay? The URL right in the server URL, not the secret, the server. Hit publish. And now what we're going to do, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't even need this right now. All we want is this status update, okay? Because what happens is at the beginning of every call, a status update gets sent. So we're going to hit publish. So now, I think it's called, we can set up a filter, because multiple status updates come through throughout the call. There's, I forget what the first one is called, but it's like call begins, and then the last one's like call ended, right? And then the end of call reports will come in. So what we can do is let's put something like call start. Condition is, it's going to be event when it comes in. And I honestly forget the names. I always forget every time. Okay, but we can run it and you'll see. Need that. All right, so we're running this again. Let's call it again. Actually, let's run this module only. And then let's call again.
Hey there! Welcome to Power Brokers Real Estate. How are you today?
All right, so we see we got that. So it's, yeah, type status update, status in progress. Okay. So we can label the status update. And then condition is status text operators equal to in progress. Save. And this status comes through every time it says in progress. This happens every time a call begins. And it's sent, right, to this webhook, the server URL. Okay? That's what it means when these server URL messages, right here, server messages, if this is off, then the end of call report won't come in, okay, to this webhook. If it's on, then both of these will come in. All the status updates, end of call reports, this other bullshit we don't care about, all right? Make sure we hit publish. Now let's go back to make. So now it's one last time. Let's test it. We run this once. So it says unprocessed data in the webhook because I only ran it once. And then after the in progress message came in, the call ended message also came in. Okay. But it wasn't running here. So now that data is waiting in the queue. We don't want to use that. We're going to wait for new data. Okay. So we're going to call again. And hit call.
Hey there. Welcome to Power Brokers Real Estate. How are you today?
Hey, I got to go. Sorry. All right. So now you can see that this is a way to ensure that if something, whatever we want, all we need, whether it's a send SMS, whatever sort of tool we want to call at the beginning of a thing and guarantee that it works, we can use this method. Okay. And I just wanted to show you guys this because as long as you have the number that you get, right? You get the customer number, then you can do whatever you want with this number because you know that's the person calling. And then whatever you need to do at the beginning of the call, whether it's send with Twilio, and if we look again, this didn't come through again because, right, I didn't register my number again. But you can see the logs here for Twilio. Okay. Now, this was just a quick demonstration of, webhooks and why you'd use them in Vapi. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. Like I said before, though, guys, webhooks are very simple. It's essentially setting up a URL and sending data to that URL for further manipulation, tool calling, CRM updates, whatever you can possibly think of in your automations. You can use webhooks for this within Vapi or retail. Okay. So I'll see you guys in the next video on APIs and HTTP. All right. See ya.